right. Got another weekly update. Let's cover some of the movement we've had this past week. Um, we'll go ahead and start with Bitcoin. You can see where we've hit our support box, have lifted back up, come to the weekly band, and we're holding that weekly band for support. That's good. I have shifted volume profile to match a little more precisely with some of the action that's going on. And now I think our next area where we might really be looking for some resistance, maybe another turnaround of events. Logically speaking, the area to watch is going to be up here in this box. That's between this volume point of control. We have our weekly band, weekly resistance here. Put on a weekly chart. You can see that. That's 2 week. There we go. Large weekly resistance there remains untapped, and our value area high, as well as, it's hard to see in here, this red line, which is our 886 retracement from this high to this low. Now that's significant to me because if we go in and we measure our 886 retracements, it was hit perfectly here. In our last cycle through, it was hit perfectly here. So we have been coming down, back up to the 886, down, back up to the 886, down, and possibly back again into the 886. And we'll see if that continues on this downward trending channel. I'm not looking at shorts yet. I really want to see if it'll come up and hit this range, and there I'll be looking for resistance. We may get a retracement for another leg down, or possibly finally down into a higher low to break out of this channel. Targets for a higher low, well, I don't have them yet, but when we reach up here, we'll be able to refine that back down a little bit. I would like to personally see it come down, hold this value area low. I think if we could do that, that could be the end of this range, and we could finally start heading up towards our larger targets between 80 to 100,000. Zoom in a little bit and see if we have anything actionable. No, not really. We've left this support box, and if we came back down into it at this point, I would see that as very bearish. I don't want to see it come down. Honestly, even the value area low, I don't want to see it come down and hit that. Though if it did and it held, it'd be a pretty good sign. Ideally, we hold over somewhere in here, and we don't fall under 61,705. Preferably, we stay over 62,000. I don't want to reclaim all of this just yet. If we can keep up bullish momentum, we shouldn't have to reclaim this bullish candle. We do have a selling tail up here at the top, but it's kind of trading in this little micro wedge on the smaller time frames. Again, I don't see anything actionable since we've left our support box until we hit our resistance box, and to see what we're going to do there. Let me pull up some of the larger indices and we'll see where they're at, because they're actually a little more of an interesting space. You see that on the S&P, came up, gapped through our resistance box, which is interesting move, and close this one out. This one's done, and this resistance area here is done. Broken our highs, and we have our all-time high to break still. Might be able to get there. That could be an interesting move to come back up, wick these out, and then head back down. Again, our larger time frame bearish patterns are now, because of this action here, are now valid all the way up into the larger range. For the SPY, that would be 618 to 626. So can't count our larger pattern with our larger targets down here as invalid until we break up above that range. Now, that does change some of the smaller targets we are tracking. Um, this one is still possible. That's a stretch. So that's good news. In fact, I'm going to take this off because that's just theory at this point. Um, it's a messy chart. Let me move over to the Qs. You can see they're doing a fairly similar thing. Came in, we took this high, so I'm going to take this high out. We did take this high as well. I'm going to leave it for possible SFP. We do have another gap above, but we are still in our PRZ. It's on the 4 hour. Look at the 1 hour. Yeah, we've hit a lot of look, a lot of divergence, but I'm not gonna hourly divergence isn't that strong. Where we could fall into support now would be a possible move after this break. You can see kind of rounding out down into here, and then we'll see if we can't move back up and break the high, or if we fall below there and start coming down into our final targets. We just don't have that action yet. Not on the Qs. I'm not seeing it just yet on the S&P. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, these are still lower highs. We've had some volatility. We're not at the 886 yet. We pulled the 7 and 6. I know we're broken over the 6. Yeah, we're at the 7, just about at 786. So we need to keep an eye on this area. It's a possible rollover zone. I do have an open trade on the futures for the Dow Jones. We entered in to here, and we've seen quite a bit of volatility in this range. We have a decent bat pattern we can play out in here. Something like this, and we could be shifting around in the PRZs of that, as long as we don't break over. Well, I'd like to not see it break over 41,391. So that's where I've got my stops. I think if this is going to go, it's going to go before it breaks the high on here, and we're just going to keep forming lower highs. Now, the Dow Jones itself is much closer to that, and this was me trying to mirror it, but I'm not trading on the actual Dow Jones, I'm trading on the futures. And as far as the futures go, I'd lock in. I was tempted to down here, but we weren't even at the 1-to-1. So to me, that wouldn't have been a good use of my risk. So got a half size position in here. If we come back down, wherever this VWAP is anchored from this A point, I'll probably lock in some profit there. I have a much larger take profit here at this retracement area of about 40,000, and then a final take profit. I want to see it break the low and form back low again. We do have um, our volume point of control coming in about this same zone where we're looking for a major take profit, and then if we came and swept down back below the value area low, I'd say be looking for buyers, especially stronger buyers down in here. I think that's going to do it. Again, it's just a pretty quick update. I don't have anything too tempting and too actionable just yet. The only thing I have going on right now is still watching the Dow Jones. Now, look, we got interest rate cuts coming, possibly this next few weeks, maybe some more announcements. We'll see. We'll see if the market's already priced all this stuff in. We'll see what shakes it, what breaks it, maybe even what makes it. Markets are forward looking, and I know you guys have have heard me talk quite a bit about the possibility of. I pull up the larger weekly chart of look, the market's breaking down after interest rates start to come down, and that's still on the table for me. I think a lot of this action is anticipation of interest rates being cut. So if we're already pricing all that in, when they start to get cut, people will start looking at um, other portions of the news, other portions of the market to see how it's actually doing. And with unemployment still rising, and with production slowing, it's not the healthiest picture out there. You can see this move here on the cues. We had quite a bit of drip. We got three bullish candles. That's good. Typically, we'll get our three strong movers, and we'll get a retracement, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But I'll keep you guys updated. We'll especially be looking at Bitcoin when it hits this box to see what the next move on that might be. This could all be done, but I still want to see it hit a stronger level before taking another trade at it. So support box is held. Let's see if our resistance holds, and we'll see if we get another trade out of it. I'll talk to you guys again. We'll check up next week and see if things are in a different place. Maybe finally. Uh, Talk to you all later. Bye.